Alright, so here we are in our first game. We're on the draw, but we've got a great hand. We get to go triple 1-drop and have an artifact to pump up both of our other 1-drops. This is probably one of the more ideal hands. Our Concealed Courtyard plus Mountain also means that we're going to be fine casting Unlicensed Disintegration. And this actually highlights one of the reasons why I cut two of the black-red dual lands for just basic mountains, is because a black-red dual land doesn't actually help you cast Unlicensed Disintegration if you don't already have another land that taps for black or red. So hopefully our opponent isn't able to play another Inventor's Apprentice, and with this Toolcraft Exemplar either bashes for 3 or trades up. In this case, we're going to be able to trade up. We're going to be able to trade our 1-drop for our opponent's 2-drop. Good tempo exchange. So we're obviously in the mirror, so tempo isn't going to be quite as relevant because we're probably not going to be able to get so much tempo that it turns into a game-winning advantage. We might be able to get ahead a little bit, but likely getting ahead a little bit will just mean that we get in a little bit of extra damage and then things basically balance out as we both finish playing out our hands. We'll see. One thing that's going to be a little annoying about our hand is we are currently bottlenecked on white mana, and we do have a lot of white spells. So it will be a little annoying. A basic plains would be really nice so that we could play Veteran Motorist and Thraben Inspector. Granted, in terms of putting power and toughness onto the table, not playing the Thraben Inspector isn't actually that big of a deal, but still kind of matters. Alright, so this is a little interesting. My opponent decided to take the damage from Toolcraft Exemplar, knowing that he was going to play Cultivator's Caravan. And my opponent paused, which makes me think that maybe he has a removal spell. So what I really want to do is attack with everything, but I'll just have something get eaten by this Cultivator's Caravan. So I think what I'm going to do is unfortunately just play my Veteran Motorist. And hopefully Scry is something good. Happy to not draw those. And and what I'm really hoping is my opponent doesn't play Gideon, because that is one of the most powerful things you can do in the mirror, is just get in a slightly board stallish position, play Gideon. I'm going to be able to offset that a little bit by the fact, or by the presence of this Declaration of Stone in my hand. One of the main ways you get ahead with Gideon is by just making a bunch of 2/2s. The fact that this Cultivator's Caravan is dodging my sorcery speed removal is pretty relevant right now. Although, to be fair, if I was playing the Pro Tour winning list, this would just be a shock, so it wouldn't be particularly helpful either. And this is pretty bad. I guess actually, considering it's a mirror, it's really not too bad. Put both of these on the bottom. My opponent still has one card in his hand that he didn't play. And he paused with his Cultivator's Caravan, so I kind of suspect that he has a 1-mana removal spell, maybe a Fatal Push that he's saving for an opposing Heart of Kiran. That's what would make the most sense to me. And on my upcoming turn, if I don't have anything better to do, I may consider Declaration and Stoning both these Veteran Motorists, but I wouldn't even have particularly good attacks. So this is a little interesting. Certainly a lot of damage. Ooh, there we go. Unfortunately, since I cracked my clue, I don't actually have a I don't have an artifact in play. But I do have some good counterattack potential here. Ooh, that's perfect. How much can I attack for? 3, 6, 8, 11, 12, 13. After taking that big hit for 10, I can actually kill my opponent. Fortunately. Pretty sure my opponent has a Fatal Push in his hand. I think what I'm going to do is just attack with everything except for the Thraben Inspectors. And between that and the so my opponent can't do an all-out attack, he has to crew things. Pretty sure I'm safe here. Perfect. And if my opponent can't kill me, he probably can't attack. I mean, attacking with the Scrapheap Scrounger is a free roll since it can't block, but... So if my opponent did have Fatal Push in his hand, he most certainly would have cast it. And now we see that he did not. So I can Declaration in Stone the Veteran Motorists, and then my opponent's dead. So this is game. That's game, folks. And most decks don't play Declaration in Stone. But you can see in a situation like this, it's just insane. So you can block a 3-power guy, and then he takes exactly 6. Takes exactly 6. On the dot. What a tight game. Jeez. Crazy. Okay, so a lot of people prefer to go bigger in this matchup. Don't think that I want to do that. No, I guess I do. Pretty sure what I'm going to do is just take out the Inventor's Apprentices and bring in another Gideon, 2 Pias, and the Needle Spires. Well, I want these to release the Gremlins instead of the Declaration Stones, and then this Fatal Push. So this way, we still have a good curve, but the Inventor's Apprentices are the ones pulling the least amount of weight. They don't give us an artifact like Thraben Inspector, and they don't really race or beat much in combat. So that's all we're gonna do. I know some people in the mirror will bring in like Chandras and Skysovereign, and I mean these cards are really good if you play them, but I don't really want to go that much bigger. I do typically like to stay somewhat lean. If my opponent's going really big, then it makes sense to actually just keep the Inventor's Apprentices and maybe not even change my configuration that much. But I'm gonna go a little bigger and kind of evaluate things. You don't want to overthink things too much, but and well, you don't want to overthink things too much, but there is a little bit of a cat and mouse sort of thing where if your opponent's trying to go a lot bigger and you're not, you can actually just run him over. Basically, if both players agree that the best way to play the matchup is to go bigger, and you both go bigger, then whoever's greedier in that regard, it's probably going to be at an advantage. So if like I know I'm going to go bigger, and my opponent knows he's going to go bigger. Wow, I totally played the wrong one drop because I was talking to you guys. Sorry about this. So just to sum up what I was saying before is if both players have decided that post-board they're going to go bigger, then the best way to win in that situation is just to go even bigger and be even more greedy. And if you know your opponent's going to go even bigger and be more greedy, then all of a sudden it makes a lot of sense to just um, stay lean and fast. Just slide right underneath them. If I had a third land, this would be such a good turn for me. So good. Well, I don't have any creatures to play. I actually just don't have anything that I can cast. So I think what I'm going to do is just crack my clue and hope to hit a land drop. I hit my land drop. It would have been amazing if there's something to tap for black, because then I would be able to attack. I should be able to attack next turn. So that really took the wind out of my sails. The triple one drop play was looking really good, but then turn 2, crack a clue, do nothing. I basically lost all the tempo that I'd gained by playing 1 mana creatures. Pretty unfortunate. All right, so I think the move is to play Release the Gremlins and then just attack. Release the Gremlins is just so good in the mirror. It's like completely unfair how good it is. And I'm a little surprised that my opponent didn't block the Toolcraft Exemplar with his Veteran Motorist, because unless my opponent has something like Lantern Scout and is going to be able to win a damage race in a big way, seems like he should have just traded. I don't really want to play Gideon because while it would be costly for my opponent to kill it, wouldn't be that unreasonable. I think the best move is just play Thraben Inspector, kill DePaula, bash with the team. Everybody's getting in the club. And now my opponent, you know, probably should block with his Veteran Motorist, but he probably should have blocked last turn. You know, by waiting, he didn't attack with the Veteran Motorist either. So he's just taking extra damage. Starting to become pretty relevant. Oh, he's going after the Gremlin. Why would you do that? And it's pretty bad for my opponent. Scrapheap Scrounger can't block, and he's way behind. And this is one of the reasons why I don't actually like going too big in this matchup. Is Scrapheap Scrounger is actually a pretty good source of card advantage, and you never want to cut it because your deck just wants as many artifacts as possible. Yeah, I mean, it like doesn't play defense, so that whole going bigger thing really backfire. I get to knock him to 1. And this could have been a pretty decent line of play for my opponent if I actually had no artifacts left in my hand. But, you know, Pia does a good job in terms of synergy with this deck, even though it's not the most powerful card. It is a cool card.